Hey guys.
Stand by, everybody. Stand by.
Happy Sunday to everyone, and welcome to another Sunday of Top 5. And today we're just going to jump straight into it, ladies. I couldn't wait, but I wanted to shout out everyone that is joining us today. I see Tampa, Florida already in the chat, and I want to say hi to everyone. So, ladies, what are we whopping today? Share on that.
It's been a WAP day. I had to learn because I thought WAP meant with a passion, and it didn't mean with a passion. It didn't mean with a passion.
With a passion, indeed, because that's exactly what I saw. Passion in that video. It was hot for days. Tell us more about it. Like, what did you feel?
I liked it. I liked it. I like the cleaner version because it makes my imaginary mind go into places where it should go. But I like it. I like it. It's a little ratchet, risky. It's fun.
I'm taking you're a Cardi B fan.
Not even really, but I just like the beats. I like the, it just make you think like I want to dance for somebody.
You want to WAP? You want to WAP?
I want to WAP. Yes.
Oh Lord.
Ladies, are you sure that what you're saying
Because
WAP or is it WAP? And my understanding of what
It's
WAP
definitely
means
not
is not what you
dancing.
guys
It's
are
not.
saying.
It's not. But
Wait,
We're going off
Oh.
of Cardi B's version.
No, that's definitely her version. No, her version is definitely
Oh.
not dancing.
We're going off of Cardi B here. Straight
Nope.
off of Cardi B.
Yep.
So what does it mean? What does it mean?
I think
Oh.
it's too explicit for the audience right now. I mean,
Oh,
Well,
okay.
if we say it in proper terms, it means wet vagina.
Ooh, I mean, well, everybody, all the females has that, so that's okay, right? We can
Yes.
address
Yes.
that.
Well, some people
Oh.
don't, but I mean, for those that do, that's what she's celebrating.
she's celebrating how blessed she is. That's
Yes.
Exactly. Talk about it. Talk about, you know, the video being all about women empowerment and freedom to, you know, just express your sexuality in
Sexuality.
shape or form.
Yes.
And you know, Cardi B, she doesn't hide away or shy away from doing anything she wants. So that video was my top. I was like, okay, she's whapping.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really too big on the song, but I like the message of, you know, just being able to express yourself, but
right.
at the same time, there's also that connotation where people look at Black women as like real sex objects.
Right.
I've experienced that a lot because I've worked a lot with, you know, different cultures and stuff like that. And the way that they view Black women is like, ooh, like we got it going on, like we're wild in bed and stuff like that. So this is, you know, that kind of goes along with that image that we have, like we're very sexual, over sexualized, and our, you know, because they already look at our bodies as so like banging from every corner. And then they have this mindset that we're all about sex and we're good for that kind of thing. So on that end, I'm not really too keen on it.
Mhm.
But I understand that women, you know, you should be able to express yourself however you want to. But I mean, if I was a kid, I know my mother would never let me listen to that song. It would just be off
Well,
limits. I think that's what you have.
kids shouldn't listen to that song, period.
That's not a song
Right.
for kids
I
at
mean,
all.
If a kid is listening to that song, you need to question the parents, first of all. But I mean, with Cardi,
Exactly.
but look, if you really think about it, right? There's many songs when we were children that were overly sexualized, and now that I think about it as an adult, I'm like, wow, that meant that. Like, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, some people are like, oh, it's distasteful, but there's so many other songs in my parents' generation that they were rocking to on their speakers. But one thing I was just thinking about, Cardi B, she was definitely not hiding it when it came to, like, she said that I don't cook, I don't clean, but let me tell you how I get this ring.
Yeah, she got the ring all right. She got the ring. She's saying it as it is.
Yes. Yes.
She's saying it
Yes,
as
she
it
does.
is. And you know, like to Landy's point, in terms of, you know, over sexualizing Black women, in terms like I get the feeling as though she wants to give us the message like it's okay, you know, like as long as you know who you are in terms of your body and how you feel about it and the way that you respect yourself, right?
Right.
I think that she's saying that don't be shy to show what you have or who you are. And a lot of the times you hear celebrities talk about body shaming and all of that. And you know, I feel like some Black people, we're curvy, we're all different shapes and sizes, right? All different color tones, and it's a beautiful thing. And I feel like this song definitely gives some type of empowerment. Like, hey, I'm telling you, this is who I am. Take me as I am. That's it.
So let me chime in. A couple things. I don't think the song is about Black women, Landy, at all. I think it's about women in general.
Right.
And I commend Miss Belcalis, Cardi B, for bringing it because it was about empowerment. Here's the thing: when I don't know, Jay-Z or some other rapper makes a song, they're celebrated. And I think our women rappers or our women DJs sometimes kind of toe the line a little bit.
Right.
And I think Miss Cardi B went up to that line and stepped on it And
Oh, yeah.
I love
She stepped
That's all
all
fierceness
over
right
it.
there.
I loved all the woman empowerment. And
Yes, me
as for
too.
kids not listening, it's a new generation. Those kids have cell phones, they have access to all kinds of information. So
Yes.
it's hard to think, it's hard for us to think a kid is not watching Cardi B. And I commend Miss Cardi B for all the women she put in this. And I know there was a lot of controversy online about who's in it and who's not in it. As far as I'm concerned, it was about women. I looked past all of the who's who. I love that Miss Jenner was in it. I mean, the woman is a business mogul, so I love that. I love that Meg Thee Stallion. I think Meg and Cardi B came through, and it's about women empowerment. Stop hiding our sexuality. Stop hiding how we feel about our bodies. And I think these two women brought it out.
Yes, they did. They did, and they did a good job. Yes.
Well, you know what? With the Jenner, I thought that she should have at least did, a half a twerk or something. And could, give a shoulder shrug or something. Like, I mean, come on now. She just walked down the hallway and just
went in the room.
Her fabulousness, but still, like, she could have just, do something. Everybody else was dancing. She was just walking effortlessly.
She could have brought out the snake. She could have brought out the snake. You understand? Like,
yeah. And who knows?
Like,
all I knew, she just interrupted my groove when I was, rocking to it. But I when I saw another one they had at the beginning, it was fine. But in the middle of the song, I was kind of like, okay, I have to stop now and wait. So that kind of distracted me a little bit.
oh wow! So I'm reading here. Someone is posting that there is a petition to remove Kylie Jenner from the whole piece. Cut her off completely.
You're kidding me.
Remove that video. That's
Wow.
ridiculous. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Why would
I don't think she should be
video.
That brings about like who's fans of who and all of that.
Yes.
We just love the video.
Yeah.
She got paid for it. She got paid already. We can't take her check back. But
Listen.
it was a phenomenal video. It was just amazing. I loved it. I loved the colors they picked, and oh my, the dancing. It does create, little ideas.
Oh.
Hey,
Okay. Humberland is enjoying this.
You could take notes. You could take some
Dying.
notes. You could take some notes from this.
Yes. I mean, every one of us have something inside us that is something like that.
Let me tell you one thing about
Think
me.
about
I
Candy.
think aesthetically the video is nice, but I come from an English background. I grew up in England, and unwinding and carrying on and all that kind of stuff was definitely nothing to be done where your parents could see you. So this idea of being prim and proper and stuff like that, that's like been ingrained in me. And I think I've probably passed that down to my daughter to a certain extent. So this kind of thing, the video, the colors are nice and stuff like that. I don't like the song, and I don't think I would really watch the video again. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not comfortable with who I am as a woman, but like shaking and jigging and twerking and walking and grinding on the floor.
That's okay.
An absolute, that's like a no. Like if you do it, and when your mother turns around, to be standing straight, because that kind of stuff was definitely not.
Yolandi, let me ask you. So, what do you think about Candy having the strippers at her husband's birthday party in a cage? So that would definitely be a no-no for you.
So, for me as an adult, I think the stripper is fine, and I think it kind of sucks that the stripper has to be in a box, because I think he would have more fun if he could actually get to touch and feel.
No.
So, and smell. So for that reason, I'm comfortable with the strippers. I've been to some strip shows. I've been to some strip shows in Harlem, and these strip shows had no rules. So you would see like live sex happening. People were touching and grabbing and doing all kinds of stuff right in front of your face. I'm like, what kind of strip show is this? But it was my friend's birthday, and this is what she wanted to do. And we did it a couple of times. So I'm okay with stuff like that as an adult.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I'm not. No.
Yeah, I'm okay with the box.
No.
I'm definitely okay with the box. You can stay in the box. We're not going to encourage the touching.
That's okay.
Stay in the box.
Stay in the box.
Touch the box.
I could be in the box.
Yeah,
I could be in the box.
encourage-
I'm
I
with
don't
you,
even want to be in the
Victoria. Definitely. You can be in the box.
I could be in. You want to strip? I'll be it.
We
I
can walk
encourage-
in the box.
So I definitely encourage all women to watch this video because I think it's definitely a take on women empowerment. I'm from the Caribbean where whining and jiving and all that is a part of our culture. It's a part of who we are.
Yes.
It's not, I mean, if you watch some of these dance hall videos from Jamaica, it'll make your head hurt.
Oh yeah.
I remember trying to learn the Dutch wine, right? So I definitely love how Cardi B and love how all the women came through on this because quite frankly, I was sick and tired of the men sexualizing us. I was just sick and tired.
Right.
So for me to
Exactly.
see some strong females taking front and center on
Right.
this, I mean, first of all, half the time I didn't know what she was talking about because I was like, "WAP, I'm sorry, what is that? You need a hose to do what?" So I looked up the lyrics and I was like, it's I think women are coming a long way in owning our sexuality and
I see.
owning our presence and owning who we are. And even as Caribbean women, we were like, kind of like very conservative. We're in the back. Let's wear the long dress. Let's go to church on Sundays. Let's not talk about sex.
Mhm.
Let's not talk about the fact that our husbands or boyfriends are
Right.
not pleasing us. It was never a part of the conversation.
Never,
So for
yeah.
me, I'm super excited that now we're owning that sexuality. Cardi B is from the Caribbean, or she has some Caribbean upbringing. So I was kind of, I'm feeling this song. I really am, ladies.
Awesome. For those that are just joining us, we are talking about Cardi B's new video, WAP. And, we're just showing how and discussing how, our views come over on this video. The way that she deems to empower women and, just promote sexuality. So if you're just joining us, this is the topic. Cardi B and her new song WAP with Megan Thee Stallion. There you go. There you have it.
And some others. I mean, we saw a little cameo by Miss Jenner, which I
Mhm.
thought was phenomenal. We had some other powerful women in there. And I think we have to give credit to Kylie Jenner, whether we want her or not. The woman is a
Right.
business mogul, right?
Mhm.
I think if a man had become a billionaire at Miss Jenner's age, we would have celebrated. Oh my God.
Well, right.
Look at Mark Zuckerberg. Everybody respects and celebrate Mark Zuckerberg. And I know
Yeah.
there are some controversies about
That's right.
the Jenners and the Kardashians, but I mean, she's a businesswoman. She's a mogul. And I'm not defending however you feel about her, but I thought a cameo appearance by Miss Jenner and the other women were absolutely genius on the part of Cardi B and her crew.
With with the Jenners, like I said, with their mom, I know they don't play with their coins. So when it comes to doing their business and whatever to keep
Mhm.
themselves relevant,
Oh
their
yeah.
momager makes sure that they're relevant and they get their coins. So that's
Hello.
Exactly. Exactly.
that's one thing.
Yeah, that was strictly a business move because she's got
Yeah.
a lot of followers. So
She has 189 million followers on Twitter. You think they're
Yeah.
not watching WAP today?
course.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and I agree with Kelly Charles Collins, and she talks about, is it okay for men to sexualize women, but not women to sexualize women? And I think it's time that women, we own our own sexuality. Let's
Yes.
market it. Let's make money off of our sexuality
Oh.
if we choose to do so.
If we
So
choose-
now
yes.
we're talking about coins, ladies, as we're talking about coins and women just taking that power to own. Let's talk about coins and prenups. So
Ooh.
so I'm going to introduce this to you, and I know this is just like a fire topic because we're talking about coins, we're talking about who deserves what and if that's fair, right? So let's talk about Dr. Dre and his divorce, well, or the divorce that is pending between him and his wife. And we have $800 million here to play in terms of his net worth.
Wow.
Yes, that's coins.
That is,
800 million.
more than coins.
that is wow. I say she deserves whatever she wants because she was with him from the beginning. So I say go for it, lady. Get your coins.
Get her coins, half
Yes.
or more than
Half.
half.
It could be half, it could be more than half because they've been together for what, 24 years, married 24 years. I think they were together since they were teenagers. I think she deserves what's coming to her, like in money wise. She should get it.
So she should get half of that fortune.
I think so too.
Yes, I think so. I think she deserves it. They were together since they were 17 and 16 or something like that. I think she deserves it. She paid her dues.
So what about the prenup? So we're not going to talk about the prenuptial agreement?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not.
The prenup has said to be torn up.
Victoria, can you sip your
because
tea first? Victor, just take a sip of your tea first. I mean,
I need to pour more because this is a lot.
Yes, it's a lot. Yes.
so we're not going to talk about the prenuptial agreement.
You know what? You know what? She's been there from the beginning, and most likely she has been the backbone and also the brain. Right. So I do believe that she deserves whatever she deserves it. Bump the prenup. And I'm not too sure if they even have children at that, but if they do, I mean, come on now. I mean, as a wife or as a mother, you put a lot, especially when into your, husband's career. And I don't know what they went through in their relationship. I don't know if he has stepped out and that's the reason why she decided to have a divorce. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, of course, he stepped out and she's tired. We don't know the complexity of their relationship. So do what you got to do.
Yes.
Landy's quiet over there. Landy's like, nope, I'm not listening to Cardi B. And
No, I'm here. I'm just taking it all in. I'm just thinking
coins.
And I know he ripped up that prenuptial agreement, but does it mean he ripped up a copy of the prenup? And does that mean it's all down the drain, or are we going to go back to looking at that prenuptial agreement where they signed it?
So Kelly Charles Collins wants to know, even though it's torn up, does it
I think Colleen froze a little bit. I think it is, does it invalidate it? Kelly, does it? Because what if the lawyer has the original and he has a copy at home and he ripped up?
I don't think tearing it up means anything.
I don't think it means anything. And he might have just ripped up the copy he had at home to make her feel better. Like, honey, see, I ripped it up. It means nothing. We're good.
But my thing is, why are they getting divorced? What is the reason? No, to me it does, because
we don't know the reason.
Out, is this the reason why? Is he feeling that he's wrong of whatever he's done that made that marriage fail?
They really don't. They didn't share any reasons behind the split. It just talked about her, calling it quits in terms of, the marriage. And she's saying that this prenup now is just null and void because of, him being sorry for whatever. She didn't specify what he's sorry about, that he tore it up.
So just to say something, one thing I do know is that sometimes when it comes to those things, they come to agreement. Now, if a person stepped out, a prenup can be null and void. They do have that in clauses. So, you never know if that's the reason why.
So it all depends what's in that agreement and whether that was the only copy, or the attorney had a copy, and is there that was a copy that the attorney gave him. The attorney kept the original. It all depends. It all depends. But I think the question is she entitled to have? I tend to agree with you, ladies, that she's entitled to a little bit more than half, or at least half. I mean, she's been with the man for 24 years, meaning
that's a long time.
17 plus 24. I think they were together as teenagers. I mean, she's now, and she's an attorney. Isn't that correct? I think she's an attorney. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, she's an attorney. So she understands the prenup. She understands what's going on.
Well, another thing that that she talked about was that she was forced to sign it. Originally, she didn't want to. And, he kind of ganged up on her with his lawyers and everything. And she felt, as she said in her quote, she felt like her back was against the wall, like she was cornered to sign that. So I'm guessing, if you have to feel as though you're being forced to do something that you don't want to do. What's the message behind that in terms of, are you guarding your wealth from me, or do you think that I'm going to come in just for that, just for what you have? Or are we building together? So whatever we build together should be for us, you know? So
what's about Tracy Morgan, somebody that is married, that was married for 5 years? Do you think she deserves half too?
Well, it all depends on the state, you know. Now we're
they do have a child together. They have a 7-year-old, so that kind of throws it off a little bit, because now you have a responsibility there. It's that this person has to take care of your child, regardless of the marriage not working or not. You have a 7-year-old here, so you have a vested interest in that.
Did Tracy Morgan have a prenup? I didn't think he did.
I believe they didn't specify if they had one or not.
Okay.
Not.
If anybody's watching, and I see Spice Baffy came in, Kelly Charles Collin, Dion Fraser, thank you for watching. Let us know if Tracy Morgan had a prenup, because the wife is saying she wants half of the $90 million, and he's not worth $90 million. What it is he got $90 million in a personal injury settlement, where if you recall, he was driving into New Jersey Turnpike, got injured, and she's saying she's entitled to half. I mean, I don't know.
I'm wondering if she's saying she wants half because of how she had to, bring him back to his health, probably feed him, probably bathe him, probably even have to deal with some ED problem temporarily, so she feels she deserves half.
I think when our guest here comes back with some answers, we can definitely continue from there to see if she is worth half, because she did 5 years. She brought him back. She, nursed him back to health. So let's see what our audience is, their take on that. And we'll come back and join you with some more hot stuff.
Do you emoji? I'm talking to you. Yes, you. Do you emoji? You should. Emoji, a brand new social media platform where you can social your way. With a simple and quick way to engage, meet new friends, and social the way you just love to. No annoying blocking or censorship. Check out emoji.com from your mobile or desktop PC. Emoji.com. Do you emoji? Well, you should. Log in now. Emoji.com. Do you emoji?
Emoji.com. Log in, sign up, and emoji.
Awesome. Welcome back. Welcome back. And so we'll start off with Candy. Candy Wildman says that he got 90 million while they were married, so she is entitled to half.
Okay. I heard you, Candy.
She needs to get half. Candy said that $90 million you got from that settlement, half needs to go to the wife.
Oh, okay.
I can see where Candy's coming from, because is this marital property? Because it came into the marriage.
Yeah.
came into their possession while they were both married. I think Tracy would be like, no, this is not like he went out and earned $90 million.
Right,
He
exactly.
met in a car accident and she gets half. He still has medical bills. And I like that the fact that you say that she was bathing him, she was feeding him. Quite frankly, I think he had nurses for that, but that's okay. I'm just saying, I don't think she was the one home taking care of him. I think, this is not, he went out and earned income that came into the marriage. This is, I might have medical treatment left. So I give you half of the money. Okay, fine. I'm Tracy Morgan. I give you half of the $90 million or what's left of it. I still have to get treatment. That is not going to be cut in half. I still have to get a special home that is equipped for me. I can't go out and earn as much as I used to because now there's some long-term treatment. So I have a problem. So outside of the personal interest settlement, everything else fine. Give her half of that. I think she wants the mansion in New Jersey, which is $14 million. Outside of that, I don't think, or I would personally say, she's not entitled to half of his personal interest settlement, only because he's going to need that money to treat himself. That's my.
So Shay wants to know, would you guys feel the same if it was the man that was going after the woman's the same? So if it was the man, would it be okay to go after the woman if she got the settlement? And I think that's fair.
Fair.
I think
that is fair.
It shouldn't be a divide on,
based on gender.
It's a male or female thing.
Right.
If you have the money and you won the settlement, anybody that is in a relationship with you, sharing or, going through the roller coaster rides with you, would feel some sense of entitlement to anything.
Yes.
Man or woman. I don't think there is a special, gender to want or feel entitled to something in that sense.
I agree because you know what? I think there were like two celebrities that actually that happened to. I'm pretty sure that happened to Wendy Williams. Don't quote me on that, but she's going through a divorce, and I think her husband is going after her for some type of settlement.
Yeah,
Mary J. Blige.
Yeah,
Mary J. Blige,
exactly. Right.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
we have to think in terms of sometimes men stay home and women go out to work.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not, we don't want to make it a double standard where, only the men gets, put in the hot seat when you have money. We want it. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that it's fair across the board. Right. If something happens to me today or tomorrow and I, get a huge settlement, why would I be selfish? In my poorness, we had each other. Now I'm rich. I don't want you anymore. And I know some people do that, but I don't think that's a fair way to go. I don't know.
I agree.
And I think this settlement is a little bit different because this settlement is medical it's based on a terrible car accident. It's not like Dr. Dre where he went out and created the headsets. That's a totally different conversation. He created the headset. He made that money while they were married. I think one of the conversations we had was she was listening to the beats at night and be like,
she tested out those beats.
Exactly. He was probably invested.
Hey, maybe she made some lyrics. You never know.
Maybe she made some lyrics. And choose this
colors. Probably chose some colors like, hey, this looks good. Hey, that looks good.
Yes, you're right.
This sounds good too. Maybe try cotton candy.
Exactly. She contributed
like that for the beats, but
she contributed.
Exactly. But one of the things that stood out for me in terms of in all of that, let's talk about Emmitt Smith and his wife.
Ooh.
And one of the things that stood out in their divorce, different from Tracy Morgan and from Dr. Dre, they're not talking about money. They're not talking about things. They're just, talking about staying friends and, co-parenting for their kids and their family. And that's one of the things that stood out. I'm like, wow, most of the time you see people like,
and that's not
fighting in the media, but they're just trying to, just part ways in a good, friendly manner.
Like mature adults, adults. Yes,
exactly.
Yeah,
that stood out to me.
Yes, I admire them for that. Because they did say on the Instagram they want to remain friend and do this in the most mature way possible.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like, some people that understand each other in a sense, and they understand where each other stands in the relationship. We are not working out,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of the day, we have kids, and we have businesses that we started together. We have friends that we made together, and we don't want that to be messed up because we cannot work together or get along anymore. So we can part ways, but we're still going to have cordial meets and agreements between each other. I think that's a very good way to part. That's an amazing way to part it out.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. And would you ladies sign a prenup? Would you sign a prenup? Or any of you or you don't have to share. Let's do hypotheticals because I know some of us are married. Would you sign a prenup?
Let me see.
I don't know. I mean, if you're both poor, I don't know. Like, if you're both poor, like, why would you sign a prenup?
I think that's a misconception, though. Everybody comes to the marriage with something, whether it's a retirement account.
Well, no. I mean, sometimes you could be a student, like I was a student, right? You could be both students, and then you guys build. So what if you guys none of you guys came with anything to the table, and then you guys build together? I think that's a little different than someone who's actually like that has money, and then you meet that person that already established and has like millions of dollars. Then okay, I understand why you would put a prenup in place. But for most of society, people, we come into a marriage with we're building. Most of us don't have like a whole bunch of assets.
Yeah,
I think it's age. I would do it if it depends on age and children. Children involve making sure that my children are secure, making sure my assets are secure. Before I met you, if we're already 50 years, I'm gonna do it. You have to be nothing big and elaborate. Just some basic things that I would want to put in place for my children.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with you, Hermelyn. I think at a certain age, I'm coming into this marriage with children, or coming into, I have children, I have my assets. I think I would sign, and I would sign one too, but am I being a hypocrite? Because if he's like a billionaire, I mean.
Right? I know.
And
it's
then
so
you just mess
hard.
yourself up.
I don't know if I would have signed myself out of this. I would at least want, for, what I loved? I think it was a Michael Jordan prenup. I think for every year.
Yes.
There was like a payout. So it's like,
yes.
I'm going to stay in this for the next 10 years because listen, each year is X dollars.
Exactly. I think we had to start off with 5 years. After the first 5 years, every year after that, she gets a few $1 million added to it.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's fair. That's fair. If I'm going up against that, that's fair. I'll take that.
I mean, like for me,
I don't know. I'm going with Victoria. I'm kind of feeling like if we're both coming in with nothing and we're building together, I wouldn't want to give you the impression that everything you worked hard for, I want to take away from you at the end of the day. And I wouldn't want you to do the same for me. I feel like it's like a trust thing, right? You have to know who if you're going in thinking, hey, this person, I don't know. When we start butting heads, you're going to want everything. Then it begs a question. But for me, I would feel kind of offended if you asked me to do that. And
I wouldn't. Come on, ladies. A marriage is a business.
I mean, that's just how I would feel.
A marriage is a business arrangement. We don't want to look at it as it is a business arrangement.
Speak on it.
We have to be honest with ourselves.
Well, I disagree.
Because she's only in her 30s. That's why she says she disagrees. We know it's a business. It is a business. Trust me.
Arrangement, Victoria.
It is a business arrangement.
That's why all these women are suing. That's why they're
So
all
let's see.
suing.
Killian says
They're suing
protecting
on
your
contractual
assets.
grounds.
Killian says, but they are also for protection of assets gained during marriage and after the death of one spouse, not only in the event of divorce, which is a great point. So you
Yes,
want
that's
to
true.
talk on that, Diani, in terms of your point where you say it's a business. I think that ties right there.
Veronica said Janet Jackson stayed in her marriage until the 5th year to get the payout. So one of the things when I talk to women and they talk, remember, marriage is an offer, acceptance, consideration. He offered you this, you accepted, or you offered this. Some women are proposing now. You accepted, and then you came into this agreement. What is the agreement? There are terms of the agreement, right? We're going to live together. You, Victoria, might prepare the meal, or you, Victoria, might go out to earn. I'll stay home with the children as the man. Whatever the agreement is, it is a business arrangement. We don't want to talk about it as such because a lot of us have Caribbean upbringings and we're women. So we want to talk about it as Romeo and Juliet fell in love. But you talk to any family law attorney, because that's where love goes to die, and you'll learn that it was an agreement.
That's
love goes to die.
Love goes to die. Where love goes to die.
Thank you for just messing up my whole idea of marriage.
From the woman who's been married for 10 years, right? Because I do believe in the sanctity of marriage, but I'm also a realist. I'm very much a realist. That's why women say the marriage fails because he refused to work. That was part of the agreement. You were going to take care of us, or you were going to contribute to the marriage, right? So I think we have to be fair with ourselves, which is why these women are saying, look, I gave you X for all these years. I need Y. Like Deanna said, Janet Jackson stayed in her marriage for 5 years so she could get the payout. Eve married a billionaire. These women are thinking about, okay, how do I want to position myself? I love you, but.
Do you think it's the other way around too? That some men position themselves, for the payout?
They are doing that now.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Men are getting smarter. Men are getting hip.
Yes.
Men are like, I can marry the come up. Like, men don't no longer want to be in relationships either where the woman is not contributing equally.
Right.
Yes.
Gone are the days, our Caribbean days, where the father went to work and mom stayed home and made dinner. I think women have stepped into their own. Men too are stepping into their own. Stella. How Stella got her groove back.
Right.
You know, maybe.
Oh yes. They want equal partnership, because even in dating, before I got engaged, you meet those men. They want equal in the relationship. They no longer just want to do everything, and you just either stay home or you have to be contributing. They want a contributor in the relationship.
Absolutely. I think I'm thinking now about the movie with Medea, right? When she talked about you cooked and you cleaned, and she started typing on that calculator how much money you think you're owed for all of the things that you're doing. I think that now it plays a big role in terms of relationships now. And as Diani said, the agreements that you made when you first come into the relationship, what you're going to do, what are you going to accept, right? So
I don't know. Like with me, I feel like when it comes to marriage, the way how I look at it is more so of a building each other up and preparing a good foundation. Just for the future of not only for yourself and your spouse, but also your children. I mean, like I said, I come from a Christian background, so marriage, in my opinion, is a little bit different for me. But that's just my opinion. It's not everybody else's opinion, but I don't really see it as more so of a business thing. I see it more so as something spiritual for me. So.
Well, when I was younger and I got married when I was younger, it was building. We build together and we build a lot together. But because I didn't look at it on the business side, it wasn't until later, like now, I'm actually like reaping some of the benefits because I didn't put things in place. But I build for 6-7 years and build and build and build. But you still have to look. You still have to take, think in the future, what could happen?
Right.
What could happen? And you have to put yourself you have to make sure you are taken care of in the end, because you will build with him and then, well, that's my personal story. You build and then somebody rips off that
The
building.
benefit. Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you
I
are the,
understand
so
that part.
yeah, so you definitely as the wife have to say, you know, I have kids, what are we going to get in the future? Because then that's where the animosity comes in, when somebody comes and just slide in to that $100,000 range and you were there when they were making $17 an hour.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the biggest fears, right? And it get misinterpreted as, you know, gold digging. When you're looking at your security at the end of the day, because you know when stuff is not going right. You know
Yes.
when it's time for you to start planning an exit, right? And
Yes.
that is what sometimes get misinterpreted by other people. You have to think about when you walk out the door with the kids, how are they going to be fed? How are they
Yes.
going to be maintained?
Yes.
And
You're
how
right.
are you going to keep up the lifestyle you had?
Yes.
And that's when you have to start putting things into perspective. Like,
Yes.
I was here with you when we had nothing, and when you got this, that, and that, and when I had this, that, and that. So in turn, that security should be, you know, mine to have. It shouldn't, you know, just fall on the next person willing to give you, you know, that attention or step into the scene. You have to think about who was there with you in the building. I think that's a fair perspective, and
Yes.
it gets misconstrued a lot of times as this person is gold digging or you weren't in it for the long haul to begin with. But it's actually you preparing yourself, which is a real
Yes,
thing.
yes, and making your kids' life easier, because I wasn't thinking about that in the beginning, and then later on when you know, you did the child support or you did the alimony and you did that, you know, life became so much better for me and the kids. You
Right.
know.
So let's look at what some of the viewers are saying.
Mhm.
Veronica said, marriage is a key way to build wealth as long as both are working. That is where some Black families miss the mark. Kelly, so the mindset around wanting half is rooted in business. And she also talked about earlier Kelly's post saying, just because we say it's a business agreement doesn't mean it creates love. I'm not saying we're not in love.
Right.
In fact, we're very much in love, which is it's like purchasing a car. I love this car. Now let me see the fine print. It's the same analysis. We're
Right.
absolutely in love, but how do we protect each other? How do we protect each other if we decide at some point, we decide at some point this doesn't work, or if you die, how do I protect myself from your family members or other contractual obligations that you have? This is not so much just about divorce. And I think as Caribbean women, I grew up seeing my parents married for decades. They were married forever.
Well,
right?
let me.
But things. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Victoria. Go ahead.
No, I was going to play devil's advocate, but what about when it comes to other cultures, right? Now we're talking about, you know, this and that when it comes to a marriage. There's other cultures that they when they marry, they have, you know, you have people, just like you said, one of the young ladies said before, oh, sometimes they're home with their children, or they're doing other things. Maybe they're not that equal, or maybe that the woman is making more. Like, there's different scenarios when it comes to that too. So I don't know. I think it depends on the person, right? I can't really speak for all, because every relationship has their, you know, what they are okay with and what they're not.
Exactly.
So guys, you think
That's
this
true.
is a gender thing? So we have Geraldine saying women sometimes put that into perspective when it's too late in terms of, you know, security and making sure that they have that stability on the way out. But is it only a woman thing? What do you think about that? Is it only us who, you know, put that into perspective when it's too late, or sometimes men do as well? What do you think?
You know,
Go ahead, Victoria.
okay. I was going to say that, you know, I feel like sometimes women could be very, you know, caregivers. We tend to put a lot when it comes to relationship. some, even if it's just building up that other person or whatever. Sometimes, even when it comes to children, I don't have children, but I know, like, based on my family, sometimes you put back, if it's education or maybe that dream that you wanted to go after, you put that all on the back burner because of your family. So I totally understand when it comes to if a woman says that they have to look for what's good for them at the end, because at the end of the day, they probably put themselves on the back burner in the beginning. So everything might just not add up towards the end.
I think traditionally, and I hang out with a lot of professional, accomplished women, right? Traditionally, women would not think about where they would sit if the marriage were to end. And I don't mean a divorce. It could be death. We've seen families where husband dies and everything falls apart.
Yeah.
I think women, myself included, I position myself. So if anything were to happen, I can take care of my children. That's important to me. I'm not going to sit aside and say, I am so in love that love will save the day. I think women are being educated. One, women are becoming earners. You have women that are earning more than their spouses. They're out earning their spouses because they're becoming entrepreneurs, right? They're no longer in the kitchen barefoot cooking chicken at the stove. So why would we not, as women, entering into these relationships? I don't want to call it business agreement anymore. Entering into these relationships, because we're savvy business women, right? So if we're entering into these relationships, why would we not want to protect our legacy? Why would we not want to protect our earning power? The men have done it for decades.
And what's so wrong with that, right?
What is wrong with that?
What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that? Because at the end of the day, as you said, you think about your children, you think about their future, and you think about, their security and their stability. What is wrong with that? Now, in terms of talking about, being prepared and making sure that we have some type of stability, another topic that, crossed my ears, I would say, listening to the news on Friday, they talked about residents on the Upper West Side complaining about, the influx of homeless people into the neighborhood. And one of the things that they were talking about is that the city is paying a lot of money for these people. I don't want to say these in that type of way, but the homeless people to stay in very luxurious hotels. And the residents are not okay with that. And for my first thing, I had to look at both sides of the spectrum in terms of what would you feel comfortable, in this situation, how would you feel? Talking about stability and security for your children, and thinking about the dangers that come with that, right? Because you don't know who's coming into the neighborhood. You don't know, what their background is. You guys want to talk about that? How would that make you feel if you're living on the Upper West Side and you see an influx of homeless people coming in after you've done so much to make sure that you are taking care of your children, you make sure that they're in a good neighborhood, and you want the best for them. You want the safest place for them to live, and this is happening. What's your take on that?
Well, I'd just like to say my take on that is I do believe that the residents who live on the Upper West Side, they do have the right to have concerns about homeless people, people in domestic violence situations, people with mental illness. Everybody needs somewhere to live. I would be concerned also because what happens is that when you don't have a voice in your neighborhood, one of the things, I live in a predominantly Black community, and we don't speak up enough. So when they have those community board meetings, there's very few of us who actually attend. So what happens in our neighborhoods, and I'm talking of my neighborhood, we have a lot of people who are put into these homeless hotels or special apartment buildings for people who are homeless. A lot of that comes in. In addition to things like that, you have people, like the city is like placing like garbage disposal places into your neighborhood. The whole thing is that if you don't speak up and your voice is not heard, nobody's going to listen to you. So if you live in a neighborhood and you want to protect who is around your children and who's going to be walking down the street. There's a million apps out there that can tell you all of the child molesters who live close by to you. And unfortunately, in my neighborhood, when I look at that app, it tells a very, very terrible story. I also lived in Brooklyn in Canarsie before, and it was the same thing. If you look on these apps, it tells you who, like less than a mile away from you, there's a child molester who lives down the block from you. All these things can be very frightening. So I do feel that the people on the Upper West Side, they do have the right to question it. I don't think that they should be a neighborhood that is set aside and says that no homeless people can live in that neighborhood. I think it needs to be shared equally around the city. And if you have other services and different things in place to help these people, for example, those with mental illness, or they have different services and different things that they can access to at least allow their transition into the community to be a little bit more safer for all involved, I'm all for it.
So we have some comments here, which is it's very, people are having their different discussions, but let's take it to from Kellyanne. It says the same Upper West Side neighborhood was likely a minority owned neighborhood that was gentrified. And Geraldine is saying, like, we can't make assumptions that categorize people, and us Black people are subjugated to that. So, anybody take that on.
I don't think it's anything about race when it comes
that's
to
what I was going to say.
homelessness.
We cannot associate homelessness and Black.
No, yeah.
I think that's unfair.
It is, because at the end of the day, I'm a real estate agent. So people are concerned when you have a lot of people that they don't know. And most of the times these people might have mental illness, right?
Right.
Can cause disturbance to the neighborhood. That also could bring down the property, the wealth of the property, right? So people, you have that, and then you have your kids' safety and disturbances and a whole bunch of things. I live in an area close to an area that they do have a lot of homelessness, and they have a shelter, and it could be a problem. I mean, they harass you. So it's not a problem. I don't really say that, okay, they shouldn't have a home for them, but there should be some type of structure that they're just not walking around roaming the neighborhoods where people actually live and raise their children.
And let me add, Colleen, and Victoria, I agree with you. I don't want to associate homelessness with criminals or Black,
exactly,
for that matter. But what do we know about homelessness in America? There typically is some either mental health issue or there's something going on with the homeless population.
Right.
I am not going to be a hypocrite, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I had 100, 200 homeless individuals move into my neighborhood, and I don't live in the Upper West Side, not yet, but if I did, or if I live in Riverview, Florida, suburb in Tampa. If there were 100 homeless people, 50 homeless people that were relocated to my neighborhood, I would want to make sure that I understand that there are safety nets in place, treatment, back to work programs. So it's not just simply busing 100 people to a new neighborhood and say, go to bed. Because we know with homelessness, there may or may not be some issues associated with that. So I'm not saying NIMBY, not in my backyard, but I'm saying, look, if you're going to place them in my backyard, I want to make sure there's some follow-up. I volunteer at homeless shelters where in the morning, I volunteer where we feed the homeless. One thing I know about the shelters, they have to leave at maybe 9 in the morning, and all day they cannot go back to that shelter until in the evening. So a lot of times they're just sitting on the road, sitting in the parks. I don't know that I want that in my neighborhood. I think I would need a little bit more follow-up, a little bit more, a little bit more tracking, a little bit more social programs that could help these individuals get back into mainstream society.
And to what Landy was saying earlier, in terms of our neighborhood, I think earlier someone posted, if not in their neighborhood, then whose neighborhood should they be in? Exactly. But I think to what Landy was saying earlier, a lot of the times we don't speak up. There are a lot of things that come across the table in our communities, and we don't come out, and we don't voice our concerns. And so usually they make decisions for us. Yes. And it's not usually the decisions that we like. and at the end of the day, it's done and over with. But I think, to what Landy was saying, we do have to play a bigger role in our community, where we live, and the things that we want to see. And I also agree with Diani in terms of there should be incentives or things put in place to make sure that, yes, you are dealing with or helping those people that need to get back on their feet. Because I know that not every homeless person is a pedophile, is, mentally ill. Some people just fall on hard times, and they just need that opportunity to get back into the community and rebuild themselves, some type of rehabilitation program. But also, I mean, we all can talk about the fairness in terms of our safety and our children's safety, and the fear of, bringing harm to our community and our environment. So I think this was an amazing topic, and I think we had awesome fun today, especially with the WAP. I'm just looking forward to, having some more amazing topics for you guys next week. It was awesome, ladies, hearing your point of view, having your input, and just seeing the beautiful smiles across the screen. It was awesome.
Awesome. Well, it was a blast again, and thank you to all our viewers for joining us. It's Top 5 at 5 every Sunday at 5, and we'll drop information on how you can support us, how you can keep this program on the air. Thank you, everybody. I see my girls Kelly, I see Chrissy, I see Shay, I see my girl Geraldine from London. Thank you guys so much. And I don't want to do shout outs in case I miss anybody. So I'm just going to shout out everybody.
Yeah, we're shouting all of you out.
Shouting out
everyone, all of y'all.
Happy Sunday, everybody.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Bye, guys.
Thank you for joining us, guys.
Happy Sunday.
Awesome. Amazing.
Little music to take us out.
Someone said, sorry, we busy playing Jab Jab. That has to be great in here.
Jealous.
Playing Jab Jab. We with you. We are here with you. We're going to be playing Jab for you next Sunday.
Yes.
Maybe start with some music so we can play Jab Jab.
Oh yeah. We want to dance out to some Jab Jab music.
Yes.
Bye.